when Paul directed that women should not be permitted to speak in church, he was not silencing women. He was directing his arrow to the spirit of Jezebel. It is in 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 11 and 12. In verse 11 he says, I want all women to learn in quietness and in full submission. Now, the best way for a woman to learn is in quietness and is in submission. Submission to her husband. When a woman submits to her husband, she cannot raise her voice against men. So Paul was directing his arrow against the spirit of Jezebel within the church and in the family. It is in verse 12 where he says that a woman should submit in authority, should submit under authority. Now, Paul saw the spirit of Jezebel sneaking in the church. In the book of Revelation, Jesus is rebuking that spirit of Jezebel. He says, it teaches the servants of God to eat food sacrificed to idols, and number 2, to commit sexual immorality. That spirit of Jezebel, according to Jesus, is a spirit of a woman that calls herself prophetess, is a spirit that disguises into prophecy. It banks on prophecy to mislead believers in the church. It banks on prophecy to mislead people. In my lifetime, I have seen that spirit misleading very many people. Somebody comes to you with the claim, God says, God speaks, God has sent me. Before you are aware of it, you have committed sexual immorality with the same woman who claimed to be a prophet sent by God. Another brother was sent to cast out demons in a mental confused lady. That brother fornicated with the girl in the process of casting out demons. There are also people who can lure people into sexual immorality in the guise of prophecy. God has said, this is the woman you are going to marry. God has said, divorce this woman. God has said. God has said. So the spirit of Jezebel banks on false prophecy and claims herself to be a prophetess. Jezebel is a woman in the Bible who never submitted to her husband. She was not a godly woman. She was not a believer. But she got married to a believer, the king of Israel. And she used the authority of the king to kill and destroy the servants of God in the land of Israel. She behaved the way she liked. She did whatever she wanted. If Ahab was not able to do something, the woman handled it fearlessly. She killed Naboth. For no good reason, she killed Naboth, a God-fearing man. She threatened to behead Elijah just because Elijah had killed the false prophets. So Jezebel is the worst spirit to be entertained within the church. We who belong to the church of Christ, we have to be watchful against the sneaking tactic of that spirit of Jezebel. And Paul says the only one way to protect the church from that sneaking spirit is for women to learn through submission. Every woman who has submission at heart will not raise her voice over men, will not dictate to men, will not look down on men, because she is submitted to her own husband. And that is the only boundary Jezebel's spirit can never cross. For a woman to be a captive of Jezebel's spirit, she must raise her voice against men. She must despise her husband. She must try to control things to happen the way she likes, instead of submitting to her husband. So the red line to draw against the spirit of Jezebel is to make sure that you fully submit to your husband as a woman if married. And for girls who are not yet married and ladies, you should make sure that you don't despise men and talk bad about men, because one of them is going to be your future husband. So my advice to you women, because Jezebel is not a spirit that is to use man, is a spirit that is to use a woman. My advice to you, my sister, embrace submission. The essence of a woman is submission. The essence of a woman is not pride, is submission. Whenever you find a woman shouting against men, or fighting with men, or competing with men, or raising her voice where men are, not the spirit of Jezebel in her body. So submission is the essence of a woman, and is the only weapon against the spirit of Jezebel. God bless you.